So I finally got around to those Creed movies that are out there. I'd never watched any of them before. Obviously, Creed 3 is out right now, or just dropped, is probably out of theaters now. Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan. Have either of you guys seen the Creed movies?
Yeah, I've seen them. Not the third one, though.
Okay. Were you a fan?
I really like them. They're really good movies, yeah. Michael B. Jordan just kills it. And what's his name? Sylvester Stallone, his presence in there is perfect. Like kind of what you would expect.
Yeah.
But Michael B. Jordan steals the show.
For sure. Sylvester... it works. His role works. He's a little corny here and there and yada yada. And the 80s Rockies were pretty corny, but it works really well in this kind of like environment with it.
Yeah. What cloud? I want to put it in the cloud.
Yeah, stuff like that was pretty funny. Love, have you seen him?
No, I haven't. I've seen a couple of the old school Rockies, and they're super corny. They're just so landing like haymakers on each other. It's insane.
But they don't even do a good job of making it seem like they're landing it. So you get the thump noise, but there's a solid 2.5 feet between Sylvester Stallone's glove and the guy's face. It's like, that wasn't even close. Why did you use that one? It's really bad on those ones. But dude, yeah, I hadn't seen either of them. So I had some flights this weekend as a little trip from hell. So excuse me if I'm delirious during this episode. I've been up for about 17, 18, longer. I don't know. I've been up since 11:30 last night. It's been fun. Anyway, I watched Creed 1 and 2 on the flights, and bro, they were great. It's not like I didn't watch them because I thought they would be bad. I just never, you kind of got to be in the mood to watch a sports movie like that. And I just haven't been in the mood. But I think Creed 2 I liked even more. I thought it was great, bro. It was like emotional too. There's a lot of emotions between him and his dad's legacy, and then him and Sylvester Stallone's Rocky, him and Tessa, his wife. Tessa Thompson plays his wife in the movies. There's just a lot of really solid emotion with the whole fight buildup, obviously. But it's just, man, it's just solid. And it reminded me that there's nothing like that sports movie chills you get from watching a movie like that. Like no other movie really creates that same feeling, the goosebumps and just the motivation where you're kind of just ready to run through a wall for this stuff. Reminds me of like Remember the Titans, stuff like that. Were big sports movies back in the day that really did it for me. So wanted to real quick, I didn't give you guys any prep, but what would you say is your favorite sports movie? Lub, we'll start off with you. What would you say if you had to say it right now?
Ooh. Well, I mean,
I know it's hard.
I'll give you a top three.
Yeah. Throw out a few. There you go.
Space Jam. Gotta give Space Jam some love.
Okay.
The original, obviously.
Oh, of course. God, what?
It doesn't even mention. I do like. Dude, Remember the Titans is pretty sick. I haven't seen it in a while though, but I do remember loving. Oh no, I'm not gonna say The Longest Yard. I like The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. That's a good movie. Yeah. And then. What's the one where it's the Hurricane Katrina school and they it's Hurricane like the school, it's like based on a true story and it's right after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans and they like rebuild the
Blindside, right?
Not Blindside, no, that's the Sandra Bullock.
I don't remember.
That was in the South.
Hurricane Katrina.
I remember a hurricane in that one though, yeah.
I remember We Are Marshall, which followed a tragedy where they lost their whole football team. They died on a plane crash, and then the next season they had to field all these, and it's based on a true story. But I don't recall a Hurricane Katrina football movie.
Hurricane Season.
Oh,
and
I've never heard of it.
It's got Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker's the coach.
Okay, Hurricane Season. I'm assuming it's mid-2000s movie.
Yeah, Bow Wow is one of the players. He's like kind of the punk one that's hella good that only plays on the streets, and they recruit him to the team. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at I've never heard of it or seen it. Interesting. 2009. All right, I like it. JD, what about you? What movies pop in your mind when you think of that?
I think my definite favorite sports movie is Varsity Blues. I've watched that since I was young, and I can still watch it today, and it's so good.
It's a good one.
I really liked Coach Carter. Friday Night Lights was good. Yes. Actually, Friday Night Lights, the series, I think, is way better than the movie. That's really good. And Moneyball, that's a good one.
There you go. I've never seen the show. I've heard great things about Friday Night Lights, the series. I've just never watched it.
Really good. That was the first thing I saw Michael B. Jordan in, actually. He became the quarterback.
He's in the show?
Yeah. He's main character in season 2 or 3.
Oh, dang. Okay. I know a lot of big names passed through that show, like that went on to do a lot of big stuff. And Connor Noonan always talks about that. They're big Friday Night Lights fan family. But yeah, I've never gotten around to it. But Coach Carter, bro, totally with you there. That's in my top 3 for sure. Samuel L. Jackson, Richmond High School, I believe is the name of the high school.
Yeah.
There. But man, such a good movie.
That's a good one.
Got the emotion, got the underdog stuff going, super motivational. Remember the Titans for sure too. Those are for sure top 2 up there as well. I'm trying to think of a third. Maybe Hardball. Hardball was one of the first sports movies as a kid that made me cry. That like got me emotional with Keanu Reeves, and he's teaching the inner city baseball team. And you got G Baby, who's the little undersized kid on the team. It's solid movie, solid motivational sports movie too, though. But yeah, I know I'm leaving some out. There's a lot of good ones out there.
No, I was just thinking Rudy and then Invincible. Those are 2 pretty good ones. I remember, not top tier, but still a good
Mark
watch.
Wahlberg.
Yeah. So I actually enjoyed Invincible. I never could watch Rudy. I always thought it was way too cheesy with Sean Astin's bitch ass. It never hit. And I know it's a very popular football movie out there. That one never did it for me. I couldn't get into that one, but
it's been a long time. I can't really remember the movie, but you know, it's funny. That dude, I swear that actor looks just like our friend Coleman. Looks just like him. It's so funny.
Not exactly a sport, but The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke is like
iconic
I never saw that movie.
That one was wild. I remember.
It's a good movie. He's like he's not a famous wrestler. He's like, wrestling in gyms and shit. And it just shows like the struggle and the pain pills and all that fucking, it's wild.
How they cut themselves. And all the healing that requires.
Mm-hmm, it's cool.
Nice. I need to see that one. I heard Mickey Rourke kills it in that.
Mm-hmm.
Gridiron Gang also. I'm not a big Dwayne Johnson fan, but that's one of my favorite movies with him in it, honestly. Like, that's a really good movie. I freaking loved that movie growing up, but always watch it in high school. That one. And Raging Bull. The Robert De Niro classic-ass movie.
Scorsese, right?
So, yeah. What's up?
Scorsese.
Yeah, it is, actually. I think that's the only sports movie Scorsese's ever done. So,
yes.
There's a lot of them out there. Again, I know we're leaving some out, but it was a good little surprising watch.
Any boomers out there?
I never got Hoosiers either. Yeah,
and The Sandlot. Gotta say
Sandlot. Okay, yeah, that's top 3. That replaces one of the other ones I threw on there. Sandlot's a classic. Sorry, Hardball. Getting removed by a better. Hey,
top 2.
Bad News Bears.
12. Bad News Bears is solid too. That's a whole nother genre. There's like the funny sports movie, and there's the like inspirational sports movie kind of deal.
Right.
But welcome in to another episode of Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast where we cover and break down all of the nerd fandom properties out there that you love and that we love as well. Coming to you not live tonight, we will be covering the Mandalorian Season 3 finale, Episode 8, Chapter 24, Paragraph 72, The Return. But before we get into that, as always, we got our programming reminders throwing it out to you. We got our Road to Secret Wars, next stop, Infinity. We're covering about 14 issues. It's pretty much the meat and potatoes of the whole Infinity run there. We will have a Bad Batch coverage coming up, 2-parter. We already recorded the first one a while ago. Still need to record that second one, but we will bring you some coverage for that show. We have an unreleased Weekend Geek, which I have talked about many times because we did some shout-outs there. It will come out. You'll never know when, but it'll come out at some point. But more excitedly, we got a special Star Wars edition episode coming to you. It'll be dropping on May the 4th. A little Star Wars holiday celebration there. So we're looking forward to recording that and bringing that to you. And as always, follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Why So Sidious Pod. Interact with us. Send in your questions. We've already done some listener questions answered segments here. And if you don't have an Instagram, hit us up at whysosidious@yahoo.com with those questions or requests. So we got the finale here, The Mandalorian. Before we dive into it, we'll start it off with a quick summary, though. So the episode opens up on Bo and the Mandalorians retreating while Axe Woves rockets out of the atmosphere to make it to the Mando fleet and prove everyone wrong about him being a spy before pulling his own holdo maneuver. We see Din Djarin being escorted away, and it's his lucky day because for some reason there's only 2 troopers that are taking him. And as Din Gracie dominates the ground game and breaks free with the help of Grogu 11, we have to ask, how the hell did Grogu get in there? We see the Mandalorians taking to the skies to counterattack the Imperials as Din Djarin and Grogu make their way through the various boss levels that will lead to their showdown with Moff Gideon. On the way, we get the reveal that Moff Gideon has indeed been cloning himself, as we theorized last episode. As Bo-Katan and the Armorer bring a new fighting style that involves melee attacks while flying, we see the Mandalorians starting to shift momentum. While this is going on, Moff Gideon wakes up after just sleeping through Din Djarin destroying his clone project and get a head-to-head face-off between Moff and him before having some Praetorian Guards and Grogu 11 thrown into the mix. As things go bad, Bo shows up to take on Moff Gideon, and we see the destruction of the Darksaber. Axwoes brings down the base as Grogu channels his Caleb Dune and protects Mando and Bo from the explosion as it swallows up Moff Gideon. Mandalore is saved, and Gideon is dead. Or is he? And the finale episode ends by tying up some storylines involving things like Din adopting Grogu and taking him on as a Mandalorian apprentice as they decide to be private contractors for the New Republic. We also see a new age of Mandalore beginning as Bo leads them, and a glance at the Mythosaur before we see Din Djarin and Grogu on a nice little farm, capped off with a classic George Lucas transition as they enjoy some peace and quiet for now. So that was our finale. Pretty explosive episode, if I do say so. But before we get into it, real quick, I just, it's the question that was kind of burning on everybody's minds after watching that finale, because episode 7 was probably one of the most, I guess you would say episode 8 was one of the most theorized episodes we've had in Mando. Like, there were so many theories popping off after episode 7 came out about what we were going to see, who the spies were, who's going to die at the end, who's this, is somebody coming to save the day? And we didn't really get any of it in this episode, like at all. We didn't get any follow through. So I just want to say, who are the spies? What's the deal with that? Do you guys have like any inkling about what the hell the deal was behind that?
So I did hear that it could be a reference to the Jews in the Bible.
Okay, I heard that too.
You heard that too? That they sent out a group to check out Jerusalem
to
or whatever.
Scout out the promised land. Yeah, they sent 12 spies out to, but
right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how did the pirates not know that there was an Imperial base on the planet that they led them right to? Like, there's no way those Mandalorians didn't know it was a pretty big base, carved out of the side of the planet, like
with hella TIE destroyers. Like hella TIE fighters, hella aerial from the Empire, even if they all built them down there, which there's no way they did because that's not a manufacturing plant. Like, how they have never heard or seen Imperials over the years. I don't know.
Yeah, no TIE fighters ever flew out of the base the entire time. They just sat there waiting.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
But also, I'm glad that the Armorer wasn't a spy in the end. I do like her as... I like her and Bo kind of running things together on Mandalore. It's the perfect combo for what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So I like that she's loyal, but it kind of, there were a lot of signs. They definitely, like you did say, it was kind of a red herring. They almost made it too obvious.
Mm-hmm. I will say it's classic Disney right now, just get into the action and no payoff on a lot of the stuff that the fans are looking for.
Yeah.
Which, not all bad. I still like the episode, but, just straight to the action. Not a ton of stories. Still a good episode.
Yeah, agreed. It just that it felt like there was stuff left that they could have totally addressed and give us some answers to.
No more Mythosaur, no Thrawn. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Nothing. No mention of Thrawn in that episode, which was another surprise. But the whole time I was relieved because I was like, what's Axe going to do here? He's about to do something. Crap. What's the Armor going to do here? Is she about to take out Bo? Like, what's happening? I was waiting for them to turn on them. So I was relieved because I like these characters. I was like, okay, cool. They're all in it. Axe is for sure all in. Like, that fool is not a spy after the first 5 minutes or so of that episode. But yeah, I think I got to the end of the episode and was like, wait, what the hell? Hold on. We didn't get any answer to that at all. That's weird. It was specifically titled The Spies. And I saw the Israelites thing. It does make sense to a certain degree, and there's something else that comes up down the line that still kind of ties into that storyline as well too. But it was just kind of a random Disney reference to do, a nod to Moses and the Israelites, finding their promised land again. I wouldn't have expected that. And if that's the case, that's a bad sign for Bo, because Moses never saw the promised land. Homeboy died before he was allowed to go there. So that's what they're doing. Bo.
And even it's Brendan Wayne, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The quote he made. So there are rumors that they might have changed the finale. I guess there's rumors that there was a Mando scene with his helmet off at the end when he was chilling there with Grogu and Boba Fett. There was a rumor of a Boba Fett or a Fennec Shand post-credit scene. Something tying in, but it seems like they might have cut quite a few things out or changed it. Because why would he say, it's going to hurt so much to watch this? Like, there was
the
literally
happiest ending we've gotten.
There was nothing that meant it could have, that was, why would he say that?
No, it was a very happy feeling type of ending. Like, we literally saw Grogu and Din on a farm relaxing, and we saw Mandalore rise to power. We saw Gideon die. Like, literally every positive thing happened. So and Brendan Wayne's been great, and he's been super interactive with everybody through the season. So I can't imagine he just said that with what we got being what he was thinking of. Boba Fett was another theory I had. So pretty much every theory we posted on the social media thing there that we had discussed during the episode, none of them happened. And the one that I forgot to put on about Moff Gideon cloning himself was the only one that happened. I was like, dude, that's the one theory I forgot. It's in the episode. Go back and listen. Okay, we did talk about it. But Boba Fett was another prediction. And apparently Tamora Morrison spoke on it. He said, I was supposed to be in the Mandalorian season 3, but nobody rang me. I was waiting for the phone call in New Zealand, waiting and wanting to give up. Because that Mando guy stole a few chapters of my book. It was painful watching him turn up with some black new lethal sword. And the way he turned up in my book of Boba Fett, he just destroyed everybody. I'm sure this guy is ruining my show, but I couldn't say anything. I'm not the writer, so I have to bear it, I guess. Which it seemed like either he's kind of being his little goofy Tamora Morrison self, or he's a little bitter. But
50-50.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, a little truth is seeping out of there. But yeah, he said he was supposed to be in this season, and so there's more word going around that there could have been a Boba Fett appearance that we didn't end up seeing. So yeah, you have to wonder. And the last thing about theories, real quick, like we talked about, the Mythosaur. So that was one of the last ones that maybe Grogu either in the finale or next season would tame the Mythosaur. And although it didn't happen, we did get a little nod to it. We got Grogu reaching into the water. The camera panned down. It found the Mythosaur. So I still think, I'm theorizing, we're getting that next season. I think we're going to get some Grogu Mythosaur interactions going on, but didn't get it this time. All right, so we get into the episode with Axe real quick, and I just want to say, how about Disney? Let's just stop and think about this, and let's just stop discussing fuel in Star Wars, because just leave that out, because now there's no opportunity to look stupid and inconsistent, because we get Paz and Din both running out of fuel in 2 minutes simultaneously, same exact time when they're chasing that dragon down. And then we get Axe Woves using his jetpack to land on the surface of Mandalore, fly around doing all this stuff, fly out of the Imperial base, and then he flew out of the atmosphere miles up to the light cruiser, never once ran out of jetpack fuel, then flew out of the cruiser as it crashed. I don't know. The whole time I'm thinking during this scene, well, he hasn't ran out of fuel yet. How the hell? I'm still stuck on the Din and Paz scene, bro. I don't know. They just need to stop addressing fuel in Star Wars.
He has a Tesla.
No, he would have ran out sooner.
He
was going uphill. Teslas die so quick on incline.
Okay, a Prius.
Yeah, it's just, I couldn't get my mind off of that one. But that was dope. Dope scene with Axe there. He just flawlessly lands into the cruiser up there after he just blasts through the storm and he's getting hit by the rain. I don't know. That was just super cool shot scene there. Loved the choreography and everything in it.
Overall, the action was good. Pretty much every scene, though, in this episode. The action's definitely a positive with this one.
Totally. The effects, everything looked really good. It just felt like I don't know. It's like a season's worth of action.
I'll say that some of the Mandalorians flying in the cave looked very video gamey for a second, and it really did. But then when Bo-Katan breaks out the Darksaber, it kind of fixes it because then it becomes pretty dope and the score hits and that video game scene just turns into like, oh, okay, this is sick.
Dude, the score was dope. Score was like perfect for that. It was it set the mood perfectly. And seeing them fly through, oh my god, with the Darksaber and the armor, just cracking people's skulls with the hammer. Like, you could probably use a weapon, but it's fine. I guess the hammer works fine for you.
It's a very intimate relationship. Never mind. Edit that out. Delivery's off.
Sounds like you and the hammer.
Yeah.
Dude, why, other than plot armor, why the hell were there 2 guards escorting Din after the entire Imperial like troopers and Moff Gideon capture him? They just sent 2 people off with him.
Totally not
that was so lazy.
No, you're gonna put a lot of security detail on Din, the Mandalorian you've been after. 2 security guards.
Yeah, like, I don't know what the hell. Obviously, again, to set up what happens, which was dope. You know, we saw Din doing some dope jujitsu and finally being a capable fighter again, which again makes the earlier scenes of the season so dumb, where he's getting handled by these barbarian cavemen with clubs. Like, pretty sure he's a talented warrior. I don't know why we went through that, but
yeah, the 2 guards don't make sense. But just like everything else, the action was sick. That was some of the best combat we've seen Mando do. He's pulling out knives and stuff. Doing this, kind of jitsy acrobatic thing. So,
dude, it was sick.
And I guess Grogu just went off on his own to find him. There was no plan for that.
How did he get into there? He was on the other side of the blast door when Din was arrested, when he was detained and taken away. And then all of a sudden, he's just right behind them in the same hallway. How the hell did he get there?
The Force?
Again, I guess there was
the Force is always the answer.
It's the Force through the walls.
That's not how the Force works. Dude, it was just a lot of lazy writing to get us to these dope action scenes. But I had a lot of nitpicks in this episode just because of that. I'm like, I don't understand how that's working. And also with the Moff Gideon thing. So he's watching them on the radar. He goes, the Mandalorian has escaped, even though he calls him the Mandalorian. You're fighting an entire army of Mandalorians on the planet Mandalore, but you're still calling Din Djarin the Mandalorian. But
anyways,
so he sees him coming down the hallway on the radar. He's watching him, and he's like, I'll handle this. And so he just sits there and lets Din destroy the cloning facility while he knows exactly where he is in the base. And then he shows up and he's like, you broke my clones. It's like, bro, you let him. You didn't. Like, I'm so confused. He didn't do anything to prevent that. He knew exactly where he was. He sent troopers away. So that was another thing.
Yeah, so let's get into my theory now. If you're going to talk about it, because it showed him walking out the door as he put his helmet on of that room. So I think that Mando faced off with a Gideon clone.
Possible.
It's possible,
unfortunately,
because it literally showed him walking out the door, and then he's just standing there waiting for him. Like, did he maybe walk out and then go, oh wait, he's just coming to me, let me come back? But the more reasonable thing is it was a clone the whole time.
Yeah, it just felt like there was no consistencies to the base layout either. Which I won't skip over the clone thing, but you know, later Mando fights his way all the way to Moff Gideon, and then Bo-Katan just shows up to fight him.
Right.
Like, he went through. I don't understand this base's layout at all. But the clone thing, it sucks that that's even a possible theory, because it's very possible. Aside from the facial hair theory that's going on there, you know, people are saying, well, Moff Gideon had a mustache in season 1 and he was bald, he was clean shaven in this one. And it's like, well, people change facial hair over the seasons. But there's just a whole other reasons. Obviously, this is Star Wars and it's a cloning facility, and none of the stuff Moff Gideon said or did really made sense. So it's and he went down pretty easily. Well, it was a good fight at the end there, but he let himself blow up in the flames. I don't know. It just sucks that that's a possibility. I don't need Gideon returning. We need Thrawn. It's Thrawn's time. Yeah. We don't need, I'm not here for that.
And it seems like overall, for having Gideon as the villain for 3 seasons, they didn't do a very good job of explaining his backstory or motives that much. Like, we did hear about the Pershing and the Grogu stuff before, and it kind of led to this. But we didn't see the majority of the things in between. It was kind of, teased, and then, okay, now we're here, and he has all these clones. And, I'm glad that they're done with him. At the same time, though, like, I'm ready to move on. But I feel like he's probably not dead because, they when someone dies, they show it, and he kind of just stood there in his, pretty protected armor.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him still being alive somehow. But
You're right.
I hope they move on.
Yeah, no villain perspective, so we didn't care when he showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes it worse that he shows up in what looks like a Power Rangers villain costume.
Yeah.
And he just does these corny-ass monologues, and then you're just like, all right, dude. But if they would have built it up more and gave us some of that villain perspective, some scenes here and there, probably would have cared more.
Yeah, there was so much time for that, too.
Yeah, wasted time doing other random things.
Yeah, and his lack of explanation behind it more so makes it feel like it was a clone because it felt so empty,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
And you're telling me we did that whole cloning Dark Trooper plot line just for Din to just destroy them all, and we never see them actually come out. I know again this is another bridge to Palpatine and Snoke and all that. I know this is putting a Band-Aid on the sequel trilogy, but still, it's just like there's got to be something else that comes from it. But I don't want more Gideon at this point.
No. I think because I thought that super funny theory about an undead army was like just too much for Star Wars. But then I'm thinking about these things who are pretty close to being artificial. They are artificial, so they might be easy to revive and reprogram for somebody like Thrawn or somebody who has the resources and have kind of an undead army of Gideons who are apparently Force sensitive and in general, Gideon's like a super dedicated, efficient kind of guy. So he'd
tactical.
He'd be good, a little group of like army or something for Thrawn to use. So that undead theory seems to be carrying some way.
So that would be perfect for the Heir to the Empire movie. This is like a good, like that's like the Marvel Avengers. Red Skull, he gets sent away. In, Captain America, and then he comes back at the end. That would be perfect for Gideon, that type of role.
And they need like a super powered like fight fodder. They can't just fight Thrawn, and the audience wants to see them punch people. So that's people that can punch that are like challenging, formidable.
Right. We're not going to see Ezra, Hera, Ahsoka all fighting Thrawn. 3-on-1. You need some muscle to go with it. So
the Black Order for Thanos. 4 horses of Apocalypse for what's his name? Apocalypse.
Well, even the Praetorian Guards for Snoke at that point, which Snoke was obviously more formidable, but he let himself get killed like a little bitch. Yeah, dude, it's wild. I'm with you though. I thought that was just kind of a ridiculous plot point, and I still think it might, but I can actually see it working for once now after that. So you never know.
Only for someone as smart as Thrawn too.
Totally. They can make that work for sure. I will say, so for Grogu, I think we have been complaining about Grogu's lack of development. We felt like Kathleen just forced him into the season just so he could be there for money-making purposes, but we haven't really seen anything other than his paintball match. But we got some development in this. Not just with him, but between him and Din. He comes in and he saves Din, and instead his name's not even Din now. We got to get to that point later. It's not even a first name, it's a title apparently. But anyway, so he comes in and saves him, and instead of Din Djarin being like, what the hell are you doing? You got to get out of here. He goes, Moff Gideon's not going to stop. We have to stop him now. I need you to be brave. Are you with me? Like, so he's at that point where he trusts him. Like, okay, I trust you to be in these situations with me. I know you look like a baby, but you're 60. You've seen what you can do. And he trusts Grogu to be able to defend himself at this point. And so that was a massive jump in development. And we see Grogu taking on Praetorian Guards. And the flips looked a little better. They weren't perfect, but they were better than the earlier episodes with his flipping. But I don't know. I really enjoyed that whole development with Grogu. And before they get to the Praetorian Guards, that scene was freaking adorable, where he saves Din and he's in the IG-11 thing. And the first thing he does is he sprays the back to spray, not knowing that it doesn't do anything on the Beskar. He just remembers IG-11 doing it to him when he was injured before. So it was so freaking cute. He just starts spraying the back to spray. He's like, I'm good.
I'm
Stop.
good. Yeah. It's like in The Last of Us when they're like getting held up. He's laying down. Everything's fine. Remember what he kept doing that? But
that was cute.
I was worried at first with Grogu when he was in IG-11 to save Din. I was like, come on, man, just get out of the robot and use the Force. Like, we want to see you. But that was just one little scene. And after that, he played a big role in that fight. And in the perfect way where he didn't just take it over. Like, it's not all Grogu Force destroying everybody. He just disarms a couple of people, stops a couple times, and they're about to slit Din's throat. So played a good role for like what he is.
Yeah,
a bad way to wrap that up.
another plot hole though. Wouldn't Moff Gideon want Grogu alive?
I was wondering about that. I like, now that his cloning thing is broken and he needs to restart, wouldn't he want to? Maybe they already have the samples still, though. I don't know, but because he tried to kill him pretty quick. Initially,
that's all he wanted. He just wants Grogu from season 1, right? So it is. I didn't even think of that. Kind of a plot hole. Why doesn't he want to keep him?
So my only thing is because, he was explaining in season 1 that he's special because of his Force abilities and because of that deal. But at this point, as he was telling Din Djarin, he did it. He accomplished cloning with Force sensitive beings. So maybe he thinks he doesn't. He already got that point. And he doesn't need him
serve
anymore.
that purpose. Okay.
Yeah. So go back to the Mandalorians real quick. And the Mandalorians, after they escaped initially, they brought Bo-Katan and all them to that underground kind of area where they see the vegetation and the growth happening, to which they thought was impossible before. They're seeing this stuff growing on the surface. And as we've talked about before, Mandalore is filled with hermetically sealed domes for people to live in because the surface has never been able to sustain life since the Mandalorian vs. Jedi Wars and the Mandalorian Civil Wars. So seeing this vegetation was like this new hope sprung for the future of Mandalore. But it also kind of ties into that whole Moses theory that people were talking about, the spies thing, because this is totally them after leaving their home world like the Israelites had to do. They come back and they see this promised land full of life and it's flourishing and it's this beautiful place. So they had to be banished from their home before they could return to it, being what it is today. So I guess there were a few little parallels going between that. It's still a weird thing about the spies, but whatever. But I thought that was cool. It was cool world building.
The plant life thing, which I don't know if the audience is going to care, but get to know your hosts. We'll edit this out if this isn't stupid. But
is it stupid?
So when I was in college in Montana, I was a part of this natural resource reclamation program because Butte, Montana is one of the most polluted cities because of this mining they were doing through the 1920s. Like, it brought hundreds of thousands of people to work these mines, and it created something called the Berkeley Pit, which is a giant deep lake full of super acidic water, and they have no idea what to do with it. But other effects of the mining destroyed the ecosystem. So all the vegetation was pretty much gone. So that was like in the 20s, 30s, 40s. But the reclamation program was literally going and collecting indigenous seeds, because clearly they have the tolerance to survive in that toxicity. Right. So getting the seeds, planting them, sprouting them out, growing them till they're big enough to transplant, and going and putting them in the ground out in the ecosystem, not a garden or anything, just in the wild. So it could start to take the land back pretty much, because it filters out some of those heavy metals and stuff. So as soon as you reestablish the ecosystem, the toxicity levels are going to go way down, and they have gone way down in the past 10, 15 years.
Okay.
But
it's actually super interesting.
Yeah, so that was a cool thing to see that, like, Mandalore has their little beacon of hope, because it's interesting. You can't really survive. It has to start with plant life. It really does. Like, no matter what you're doing, you need the plants. Without the plants, they're not going to rebuild Mandalore. So that's a cool little beacon of hope. They just have this vegetation that could easily, like, they have an established system down there. There's plenty of production and seeds to continue to grow. Like, that's what they evolved to do. They just go spread their seeds. So it could be a flourishing planet later.
Dude, it's a great point, because they even said they said they were like gardening it. They said, well, we started. They saw that it popped up naturally, right, and then they decided to start cultivating it themselves and doing their gardening with it and stuff. Yeah, no, it's a bright beacon of hope for Mandalore there. And it was a nice change of pace with the episode. It was very much a change of pace, but again, the episode felt very fast paced and was kind of just jumping into things. Kind of lazily written. So this was kind of a nice, quick slowdown point in the episode, which added a bit of lore and world building to the stuff. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but JD makes a good point. It's been 100 years since that happened. and Mandalore. It's going to take about 100 years for everything to, get back to normal, and knowing Star Wars and what we've gotten, I would say there's probably a 10% chance
Come on,
we
man.
see Mandalore
Come
at its,
on, man.
rebuilt. Honestly,
Yeah.
though, like, it's
No,
cool.
you're right.
We saw it, and I'm great that there's life under the, rubble, but we're not going to see. It's not going to last that long. They're going to move on. I don't know, maybe, but if they skip ahead.
We'll get a Mandalorian
Yeah.
trilogy in like 15 years on a flourishing Mandalore you watch.
There you go.
We'll still be podcasting.
Yeah, maybe the First Order forgot about Mandalore's existence. Well, the First
Right.
Order, they just kind of forgot about them, and so
No, that'd be a cool way to end the Mandalorian series. Find a way to hide yourself from the galactic government.
Yeah,
Kind of a little niche somewhere off grid. Everyone wants to live off grid here.
Yeah.
People probably do in Star Wars too. A whole
Well,
planet though.
well,
Another
but
Dune ripoff.
oh God, yeah, going back to formula for Star Wars. But another thing to think of is Moff Gideon was kind of doing all this on his own. His cloning project was on his own. That was not with Hux and
Palpatine.
Pelion.
Basically.
Yeah, that wasn't an Imperial sanctioned deal. He was doing his own private thing, and they didn't know he was on Mandalore, I don't think. So I'm thinking if Moff Gideon truly got wiped out there along with his super commando troopers there, the Empire might legitimately not know that Mandalore is back still because Gideon was doing stuff on the down low. So it's possible, even though Thrawn will probably know. So that probably won't last very long. A way to just kill all the hope, Caleb.
Well, if they sent him the Praetorian Guards,
that's
sent him to
true. They
Mandalore.
did send him that. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, but that garden scene ended with a pretty dope little speech with Bo-Katan, and ending it. Let's take back our planet. Got the blood flowing, and they take to the skies. So that scene was pretty sick, dude. It was unique. We don't get a lot of jetpack army versus jetpack army flying into a massive cavern as they're, just Darksaber just slicing through people, the hammers. Like, that whole scene was super entertaining and very fun to watch.
Watching them jump out of the ship never gets old.
No.
And the armor looks super badass. She just waited for everyone, then just kind of like super casually jumped down.
Yep.
And I love how she just always sticks to character. Always has the hammer. It's her only weapon, and she's great at it. And then Bo just pulling out the Darksaber while flying, just like looking out at everyone like, yeah, I got this shit. Let's go. She's like on her shit.
Such a cinematic shot. This season had a lot of solid cinematic shots. Like even in those episodes with the dragon, you had Bo-Katan's ship with the sun in the background. They've had a lot of really cool, iconic Star Wars shots in this season. Despite all the other issues it's had, but it's pretty funny though, seeing Bo-Katan with the Darksaber and then the armor with a pair of tongs on her waist. Like but she does her work with that hammer. And then we got the Obi-Wan Darth Maul little shield rooms popping up. This is a super like video game style scene where Din is having R5 drop down all the shields. He infiltrates the base, and so he's trying to get Moff Gideon, and there's like 2 troopers on each level, and it's literally like a video game stage. Each opponents get a little bit harder as the red shields get dropped by R5.
Nice.
But it was another awesomely shot choreographed fight scene. Shout out to Brendan Wayne because he's the one doing and Lateef Crowder. That was the other guy. I couldn't remember his name. But they had great episodes because Din Djarin had some dope action scenes in this episode here. A lot of really well done choreographed stuff. Didn't get old.
Dude, shout out to R5 though. I was getting New Hope vibes in the Death Star. When he was it looked just like that.
I was just going to say, every Star Wars movie, they have to rely on some droids just to navigate through whatever ship they're going into. The droids are crucial. They're crucial.
And
They
it's
can't do it without them.
the classic universal astromech port that just, works on anything.
Yeah.
Skeleton key.
I wish we had those for cell phones.
In R5, there was more character development for R5 than Din Djarin in this season because he was scared in the beginning and now he's, helping them out while the police are after him. And he's shooting back at the police at the same time.
Just a rebel, that R5, fighting off those mouse droids.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the mouse droid was going to leave and get people, not 6 more mouse droids to surround the droid and just put sirens on. It's like, is this your guys' like security?
Same. I was going to say it's the same protocols I did for Din practically. Not a very secure ship.
I was going to say same protocols as the Empire days. So they know that there's 1,000 Imperials around. So if they just kind of get everyone, someone will notice sooner or later.
All right.
It's just so funny. This is not what I was expecting them to come back and do. So Din gets through that hallway. We get to the Praetorian Guard scene. I guess we kind of talked about it, but with Grogu's flipping and all that. But what do you guys think of the Praetorian Guards in this? And did they match up for you to other past Praetorian Guards we've seen in Star Wars?
I love the Praetorian Guards. When they show up, shit's getting real. And they usually have a pretty cool score behind them, and they're very formidable. And they killed Paz Vizsla, and they gave us one of the best fight scenes with Rey and Kylo along that whole trilogy. I always love that. Give me some more Praetorians.
Oh, yeah.
I guess they kind of did the power scaling right, because I think Bo is at the top, and then it's Mando, and then Paz. But Mando definitely, I mean, Paz was pretty messed up by the time he got to the Praetorian Guards. He'd been shot quite a few times.
A ton, yeah. He was like on his knees when they came in, and then he stood up for a final stand.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
But Mando, like, I don't know, he was badass in this finale. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what was in him, but he was going off, and Grogu was definitely assisting him in that a lot.
Yeah.
He would have died multiple times if Grogu wasn't there.
Yeah, so he was in there in a very believable way. I love that.
And when Kylo and Rey fought, it was like, what, 6, 7 of them? There was a lot of Praetorian Guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was more than 3. There's for sure more than 3. I think maybe 4 or 5 or something, but yeah.
So, I liked it. I liked every time because they're Force sensitive, right? They're ex-Jedi.
I think that's a Legends deal.
Okay.
But it's been mentioned. They have extra senses type of deal going on there. So light Force sensitivity or something. I remember that. But
before you become an Inquisitor, you have to serve 2 years as a Praetorian Guard. And then and they use them just right. They're not in there too much. When they show up, it's real, and they don't overdo them.
Dude, and with that scene, something else I noticed I really liked. Grogu didn't really use the Force to attack. He used it to disarm and to defend and to kind of push them out of the way, but he didn't really use it to attack. So we see those Luke lessons coming into full effect there, which is another development and consistency from him earlier in the season. So I like that. I was hoping, like, dude, take them out, like Force choke these guys or whatever you got to do, Grogu. But by the end of it, I was kind of like, okay, they're definitely doing a thing here where it's not an attack, aggressive Force, ability.
He's a healer.
So cool.
His character's like a defender, a healer, which is good if it's used the right way on an army. Yeah, that's his thing.
So they used him well. Good, solid Grogu episode.
And he says, "You did good, kid." I like that.
Yeah, dude. I love their interactions and how much he trusts him compared to prior stuff. It's just such a night and day difference. And somehow, Pedro Pascal's not under the suit, but I will give it to him. He does do a good job with the voice work when it comes to stuff like that with him and Grogu. And also, I heard a rumor that so we get to the Moff Gideon fight coming up here with Mando. We get to the boss battle, and I heard a rumor that Lateef Crowder was in the Moff Gideon Mandalorian suit fighting Brendan Wayne. So it was the 2 Mando actors going at each other in that scene. Now, it's not confirmed, but I heard that was the case. So that's sick. That's dope if that's the case. Because, the fight wasn't incredible, but there were still some cool choreographed scenes. But Bo shows up, really, and that's when things kind of pick up between Bo and Moff Gideon. So what did we think about the Darksaber? Let's just talk about RIP, ring the bells for the Darksaber, the legendary lightsaber. It's supposedly dead. What did you guys think about that?
I'm disappointed. Like, overall, why I don't really see the purpose of bringing it into the show. If maybe to show the Mandalorians that they don't need these trinkets, Moff Gideon says, that could be it, to destroy it and let them know that it's the people, the culture that keeps them strong, not the mythosaur, which,
or
is
the
under
helmet.
the water. or the helmet or the Darksaber. But at the same time, like, you brought it back, Din got it. He didn't, he was bad with it. It made him, a bad fighter. He was better without it, honestly.
Yeah, he hurt himself.
Yeah. So overall, I'm kind of disappointed. Maybe there's like a kyber crystal inside that's I feel like the kyber crystal is still safe. The hilt is fucked up.
But dude, way too anticlimactic. The Darksaber, that's something that was keeping me into the Mandalorian quite a bit, and then you just destroy it super abruptly. They don't even talk about it. And you're just left with, okay, I guess the Darksaber thing is in the past. I guess we'll just move on.
That was weird. That they didn't even at least mention its destruction at the end of the episode, whether it was the armor and bow, and then maybe the armor could have, or one of them, like you said, Lub, could have been like, the Mandalorians is what makes up Mandalore, not the history, not the artifacts. It's the people deal, like you were just saying, which would be a perfect rollway into it. But yeah, it was weird that they didn't even mention it after it happened. I don't think it's gone. I get the inclusion of it for the purpose of Bo's development and the Mandalorian storyline and everything. But again, that would have made more sense if they actually addressed that at the end of it. But there is kind of a repeating pattern in Star Wars with things being destroyed and then repaired. I mean, Anakin's lightsaber was destroyed by Kylo and Rey, and then Rey's using it the very next movie after they fix it. Kylo's mask was destroyed into pieces. They end up fixing it. He had it the next movie. IG-11, I mean, no, he is back again. He's the Marshal now. So they ended up fixing him, putting him back. It just happens IG-13. A lot in Star Wars where a treasured deal, what?
IG-13.
IG-13 now. Is that what they called him in it?
No, I don't know.
I was like, God. But there's a theme in Star Wars where something like that is destroyed and then it ends up being repaired and we see it again. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a cool, I don't know, for Sabine or something. Like you said, there's a kyber crystal left in there. Yes, it got destroyed, but you can always patch it up. We have the armor. You got Beskar. You've got the Great Forge. Like, they could easily fix it and make it better and still move past it being the symbol that holds everybody together and just include it as a dope, weapon in the arsenal of the Mandalorians. But because I still want to see that in action. I want to see Sabine wield that in live action. Like, I'm trying to see that again. So,
well, she has Ezra's lightsaber.
She does. Yeah.
I find myself curious about the kyber crystal inside of the Darksaber, though, because the kyber itself is pretty straightforward. You either bleed hatred or hope into it or whatever, and that becomes either red or the Jedi colors. So it's pretty black and white as far as kybers go, I feel like. So now I have a weird Darksaber. I wonder if there's a different kyber. I don't see them putting a different energy into it to form a different shape, because I mean, it's just a light. I don't know. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, it's because it's totally different. So you would think there would be an explanation. I mean, Disney's changed the lore of the kyber crystals a couple times already. Like, it used to be that the red kyber was a synthetic kyber crystal, and then they turned the bleeds. You have to bleed it with hate and anger now is the new deal with it behind it. And the colors like blue, green, yellow, purple, all those, like, the meanings have shifted around a bit since Disney took over. So yeah, it would be cool. It seems like an opportunity with a cool explanation, even if it's in, like, I don't know. Let's just get it in Fallen Order. I don't know.
It's like it's a kyber and Beskar alloy. That's what it is.
Right? But that would be kind of sick. Or it was made with, like, the living waters of Mandalore and a kyber crystal and that, like, mystical crap. Yeah. I don't know.
But you wouldn't be able to mold it, so you'd have to go talk to what's his name in the Rings of Power so he can mold that shit. Fuck. I thought it was funny too.
Celebrimbor.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna say it now with his name. It'll be way better. He's got to go see Celebrimbor.
Oh, shit, that's funny.
Crossover event.
That's gonna get someone fired.
I'm leaving that all in.
Mando fights Moff Gideon at first, and then Bo shows up, and you're like, okay, Bo is the one that's going to take out Moff Gideon. How did you guys? I really wanted to see Bo kill him. Like, how did you like? Yeah, it felt very underwhelming that a ship crashes. Like yeah, if like the only way you do that is because he's still alive. honestly. Like, if you're gonna kill him, let Bo like stab him in the head. Like she got him in the neck one time.
Darksaber decapitation. Let it happen. Like,
yeah, that was
Jango
very
fed his ass.
underwhelming.
No, you're right.
No, totally agree.
That means he might come back because ship crash deaths. Actually, I shouldn't say that because a lot of people die in ship crashes. I was just thinking of like, what's his name? Skull Crossbones and Captain America. He got freaking ran over by a ship inside a building and
in the building.
yeah, and survived.
Yeah, he was fine.
What I did like, not a huge dramatic sacrifice. He just has a jetpack and flies out the window when he crashes the ship. Loved it.
Yeah.
Dude, Axe Woves running for Most Improved of the Year award. That fool launched up in my books. I never doubted him for a second. I always knew he was a good guy. He would never turn on the Mandalorians. I never once thought he was the spy. Super good guy. But that was dope. It wasn't the most safe strategy, obviously, but I can't think of a more Mandalorian thing to do than dive bombing Moff Gideon's light cruiser to destroy an Imperial base while your brothers and sisters are in that very base fighting in the skies. Like, such a Mandalorian thing to do, but also poetic justice, taking Moff Gideon's own cruiser and blowing him up with it. So that was just sick. That was super cool. The cinematography of that entire thing while he's bombing through the sky on fire in the light cruiser. And like you said, he shoots the window out and just slides out. Like, dude, I love that. I thought that was awesome. So Axe Woves had some dope stuff. And apparently he wasn't even supposed to be in this season. Katie Sackhoff said in an interview, he was supposed to die in his debut episode in season 2. They filmed it and everything where he died. And then that scene where they had Din like dive on the grenade instead or whatever and take all the shots on that Imperial cruiser, like episode 3 season 2 when he's helping out Bo-Katan. Axe was supposed to die there, which is apparently the reason why Axe wasn't on the light cruiser at the end of season 2 in that scene with Luke Skywalker and everything, because he was supposed to be dead, but they cut that scene of it and they brought him back, and good call because he was a pretty cool character this season. So the fighting is done. We get to our classic wrap it up scenes that we typically do with a season finale. And we get Mandalorian apprentice Din Grogu coming into play, which shows us Din Djarin was not his name. Din isn't a name, apparently. It's a title. So it's a foundling title or apprentice title or something for Mandalorians. So this whole time we were calling him Din, that was like the equivalent of Obi-Wan calling Darth Vader Darth. Just doesn't check out anymore. Which that's a whole nother thing. I'm gonna bring up A New Hope at one point, and all I'm saying is I'm pretty sure Darth Vader was supposed to be his first and last name initially when George Lucas wrote the script for A New Hope. So that's all I'm saying. But we can get to that. But so Mando takes him on. He adopts Grogu, and he becomes a Mandalorian apprentice. So I thought that was cool, and we get a setup for him going to be an independent contractor for the New Republic as they hunt down Imperial remnants. So is that something that interests you guys? Because I like that thought of watching them hunt down Imperial remnants with an ever-growing Grogu and stuff. But what did you guys think of it?
Well, my first thought of that scene was, who's going to pay Mando for all this? Because the New Republic is not going to fund it. So is he working for free?
That's a good point. It's a good point. These are the questions you need to ask.
No, but there was going to be some cool, maybe some of the people that were on the Shadow Council we saw in the last episode with Moff Gideon. A couple of those holograms. He'll be hunting down those guys.
Kill Hux's dad.
Yeah.
Kill that fool dead.
Right.
Yeah, because we don't really see him much in the future. So,
no, I would like to see them running around taking care of little criminal things but you'd have to nail it. It'd have to be really good, like showing how efficient they work together and how they grow as a group fighting things, like how efficient they work together. Because that could be really fun and could be not very difficult for them story-wise, which they just can't do very well, Disney. So they might just do that and make it a really fun action filled, like kind of a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, except it's Grogu and Din. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope they stick to more Imperial, so we see some big wig dudes and they make a move. I don't really want to see them take on pirates or anything like we saw again. So yeah, if they did it right and we actually saw meaningful stuff like that and saw growth with them, I think it's going to tie in with Ahsoka a bit. I think Grogu maybe even gets a lightsaber coming up here in his path here, maybe through the Ahsoka series. Maybe Ahsoka helps him with the Kyber crystal deal. Maybe they take the Kyber crystal from that Darksaber, and that's what Grogu uses for his first lightsaber. Now they have a Kyber crystal, which are very rare and, not very abundant these days. So maybe that. But I could see it crossing over a lot. So I would love to see them show up a little bit in Ahsoka, and then that reflect with Thrawn going into season 4 of Mandalorian and getting a little bit of Ahsoka or Sabine or Zeb even helping because he's now, a part of Teva.
Carson?
Teva. Yeah, the New Republic now that he's, hiring Mando. So maybe we see some Zeb stuff too. But I don't know. They have some potential to do some cool stuff. But I have to think that Mandalore is still going to be a part of the plot moving forward as well.
Yeah.
Right.
If that Filoni movie is coming out in 2026, they got to start tying things together with Ahsoka.
Right.
And also, I bet there is a Bo standalone episode. Maybe Din and Grogu aren't even in the episode. Maybe it's just her in the armor. Or maybe more likely is Din and Grogu go back to Mandalore, and Bo and armor, they're hanging out. But it would be cool to see just like a 40-minute, because they did a Pershing standalone episode, and that was, let's get Bo on. That would be actually cool to see, not that crap.
Yeah, not Pershing.
No, Bo was great in his little episode in The Mandalorian season 2, and he sucked in his own show. But his little entrances and his little appearances in other people's shows seem to be good. So why not?
I did get my hopes up for a minute there, though. I thought IG-11 was going to be repaired to his former glory instead of a new Marshall character, because I was picturing Din, a fully capable IG-11 assassin droid, and a Force ability Mando apprentice and Grogu. That would be a fun trio to follow around taking out Imperial remnants, because IG-11's action scenes were dope in season 1. Like, they were super entertaining. So I got my hopes up for that. I was a little disappointed when he's the Marshal of Navarro, but...
Get a little side mount for the N1. Put a little storage compartment. Put him in there. Pack him in.
Have his head just spinning around on the top there. Extra guns on the top of the Naboo starfighter. So yeah, that was a pretty solid finale episode. I thought they wrapped up the season pretty well.
For what we got.
Yes, exactly. For the season that we got before, it was a pretty good 2 episodes to end on. It's a bummer they had to wait until that aspect of it. It definitely, again, had its nitpicks in this episode. The Moff Gideon thing, still, I just don't understand why he just let him destroy his cloning facility like that, or how the base is laid out. But overall, it was a super fun episode. So
it would have been cool to get this as one full episode, like a hour and a half long finale where you get 7 and 8 combined. Because it really was part 2. It was a 2-part episode.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it just left off from the last last scene. Like, yeah.
So give us more good stuff and make an hour and a half finale. How sick would the season have been?
They could have made it so much better if they would have just changed a couple of those like mid-season episodes, because the first 2 episodes weren't bad at all. Right. I very much enjoyed the first. Well, episode 2 for sure. Episode 1 was all right, but. Yeah, they just wasted a lot of time in this season. And as we said, it just felt like a lot of the plot points, they rushed to the climax and didn't give us good writing to get us there. And it goes back to the phrase, I like what we saw, I don't like how we got there, which has been something, we've been saying all season. So that Moff Gideon's appearance in this season was pretty underwhelming too. Like, again, we only really got him in the last 2 episodes, and we got really nothing, no context, no anything behind his motivations and stuff. And he was such a towering presence in the end of season 1 and the end of season 2, and it just felt like they just kept doing the same thing with him and just giving him a couple episodes. And I don't know. It was an underwhelming villain thing. Do you guys still feel that way about the season?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I said before, the main plot moved forward in the last 10 or 5 minutes of each episode. I would have really liked to see more of Gideon and that clone operation, more of Din and Grogu. Like, it was definitely my least favorite of the 3 seasons. Like, I love Bo and all the development we got with her, but there was so much time for everyone else to be developed and taken care of too. But it just felt sloppy and put together, last minutely put together. And it took them 2 years to get this season together.
Yeah.
We waited this long for this. Like,
kind of underwhelming. Yeah, I don't know. They did one thing right, and I enjoyed where they went with the Mandalorians here in this season. Like, I enjoyed, they didn't do enough with it, but I did like the whole plot of them kind of having to reconcile with their past and their divisiveness and come to the realization that they're the only things that can bring Mandalorians down as Mandalorians themselves. And so we did get that arc and that story. It just wasn't told in the way I would have liked to. And again, it felt like it skipped the middle. It felt like we got the beginning part and the ending part where they united, but we really didn't get it fleshed out in the middle. So in a way, it felt directionless, but in another way, the season did have the direction. And it was, again, the renewal of Mandalore. They just didn't do it in the best way.
Marvel and Disney, everything's mediocre lately.
Yeah, man. It's really underwhelming. Again, it's kind of a bummer, and my hopes are high for Ahsoka and the Acolyte, and I'm hoping that turns around. I'm hoping Guardians coming out in a week or so here really changes the mood around in the MCU, like we hoped Quantumania would. Yeah, man, we're in a bit of a slump still.
The fact that they have a movie plan coming out, it does give me hope. Like they have a specific ending, a climax for this. So maybe they're just trying to figure out how to develop it. Maybe they just tried to lengthen out the Mandalorian to fit this big picture. But I think it's going to get down to it with Ahsoka and the other stuff coming out. So just the fact that they have an end goal, still have hope.
Straight up.
Yeah, I'm excited they wrapped up the whole Mandalore plot and it's back to Din and Grogu, and hopefully it ties in with Ahsoka. And I'm really excited for season 4. I'm glad they got that crap out of the way and we're back to basics. And let's tie it in with the wider picture at the same time.
Yeah. And we got news that season 4 may be coming out late fall of 2024. But that's an early report, and I'm assuming it'll be early 2025 probably, but a March 2025 type release.
2 years.
Even though,
Nice.
Again, they said possibly fall 2024, but we'll see.
Jon Favreau ain't doing shit. Get on it.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell the dynamic is with the creatives at Disney right now and Lucasfilms, but we'll see, I guess. But I'm not setting my watch to it. If you guys had to rate the finale, we're not gonna, it's not gonna be superficial or anything. But if you had to rate just the finale episode 1 to 10, what would this have been for you, JD?
It was just a good 8. There was no payoff or none of the great story, terrible writing. But at the end, I was entertained. When I was done watching it, I was pretty satisfied. Just bare minimum. 8 seems pretty high, but just because of the choreography, I liked the score too. And I'm going to go back to a 7.8, actually. Let's do that.
Word. Love?
Well, I would give episode 7 a 9 and the finale an 8.
Episode 7 was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably do high 8 for the last episode and then low 8 to high 7 for this. I give this a 8 flat since we're not doing a real rating for this.
Right.
Give the finale an 8 flat. But let's get to our real ratings then. And any closing thoughts if you want to make any regarding the season as a whole. So Mandalorian season 3, Caleb, what was your final rating on it, 1 to 10?
Yeah, so I mean, we covered it pretty well. The last 2 episodes were good. The first 2 episodes are pretty good, but overall, it was kind of underwhelming. But I'm, excited for the future. But this season, I'm gonna have to give it a 7.8.
Bro, you I don't know who you think you are. Okay,
because I had to. It's better than Kenobi. The catastrophe that Kenobi was, besides the finale, I had to put it above that. But when it comes to Andor or the previous seasons of Mando, it's not at that level.
Okay. Yeah. Well, screw it. Let's actually, because I was going to ask that question. So, JD, give us your answer and your rating here. But I was going to ask the question, which season did you like more and get the most enjoyment out of? Mando season 3 or Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Obi-Wan by far.
Yeah?
Just because
finales.
Season as a whole. Season as a whole.
No, yeah.
Season 1 to season 3. What would you prefer?
Wait.
Season 1 Kenobi?
Oh, yeah, that's
Like
what I was answering before. Yeah, comparing the two seasons. That was my answer to that.
Yeah.
We should edit that out. But I was going to say, yeah, even though it was poorly written, it was still Vader and Obi-Wan. So it was kind of like I could just do the whole, what do they call it? Suspension of disbelief or whatever, and just relax and watch it. And
just enjoy that.
Obi-Wan, yeah, it's lightsabers fighting with two of the characters we got here. Vader's showing cool power. Yeah, no, Obi-Wan's for sure better than season 3 here. And as a rating, man, it's going to be harsh.
I'm
thinking like a 6 point. I'll give it a 6.8 because they nailed the last 2 episodes at least. And there was some good on the way, but it's really not something I want to rewatch. Like the thing with Star Wars is what you really want when you see a new show or movie is to grab that show or movie and put it in your arsenal, like something you could watch for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like your Revenge of the Sith and your stuff like that. Clone
Infinity
Wars,
War,
the end of Clone
season
Wars.
2 finale.
Yeah,
even
yeah.
Mando.
Season 2 finale, the Ahsoka episode. Yeah,
yeah.
But I'm not probably ever going to watch this again.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would watch the Kenobi finale before I watched any episode of this season.
For sure.
For sure. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, that one, man, I don't know. I think I would initially say Kenobi was more enjoyable, but I'm on my rewatch of Kenobi right now. And the early episodes are just, there's some good scenes, but man, there's a lot of just scenes that are just bad. It's just like, this just isn't good writing. The Leia chase scene, all that stuff. But again, I haven't gotten to episodes 4 through 6 where all the good stuff comes in that season. So I don't know. It's tough for me because this season of Mandalorian was disappointing for me. I'd probably say I got more enjoyment out of Kenobi too, just because of those final 2 episodes with Vader versus Reva and Kenobi versus Vader were just they surpassed anything we got in this season of Mando. And I rewatch a lot of stuff too. And yeah, I don't see myself rewatching this season anytime soon. I'm sure I will before season 4, maybe, but yeah. So 7.8 was my rating. So Lub just loves to steal my ratings. So we got a 7.8 was my final as well. So all sub 8s for this season of The Mandalorian.
Sad.
You guys are generous. That's almost an 8, man. That's pretty good.
Well, I think I gave the other seasons 9s.
What's the Dark Knight Returns? That's kind of like my good mid-level good
return. Oh, I don't know. I don't even
rate
have
it
that
now
rated.
Officially.
Movie rating,
shit.
I'd probably give it I give it a high 7s.
So you like it as much as the Dark Knight Returns. Okay.
Well, it's a movie compared to a season. It's different.
Sure,
it's
too.
movies and TV. It's hard to compare that way. But Dark Knight Returns is not super. Wait, isn't it Rises? Not Returns.
You're right. Sorry, Rises. Yeah. That's why I use it. It's like a perfect 8 for me, I think.
Okay.
It's just good, Yeah. It's my reference point.
That's hella funny. We're gonna go back to that now.
Dark Knight though? 10.
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight. Yeah, high
Dark Knight 10.
That's one of the
I don't
best.
think I'll ever
best
give
of
it
all
10,
time.
but give it a 9.7, 9.6.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared to give it 10.
Bro. There's nothing perfect. There's nothing perfect out there in this world. You'll learn that one day.
Game of Thrones
Seen the
got
things
close.
I've seen. All right, so this is kind of a teaser into a little portion we're going to be getting to into our May the 4th Be With You special episode. We're going to be doing rankings of the Disney Star Wars series finales. So it's not going to be like a super in-depth breakdown, but we're going to be ranking that. We're going to be ranking the OT and the prequel trilogies. So we'll be giving some rankings there. But without ranking them all, where did this finale fall as far as Disney Plus finales we've gotten so far? Like, did it make it top 3 for you?
Oh, no.
Looking at the bottom?
Definitely in the lower side, yeah.
Okay.
I would just have to go
It's
over
above
exactly.
Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Got to remember Boba Fett. Tales of the Jedi doesn't really count. Bad Batch, I guess you can count Bad Batch, but JD, you haven't seen it, so.
I think we do live action only.
Yeah. That's probably a cleaner way to do that.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think it's got to be second to last after Boba Fett.
Yeah, probably.
Wait, I don't know. The finale is good though, so I don't know. It's tough. We'll get deeper into it for our episode.
There you go. You got time.
Teaser.
Look, confusing the host just as much. It'll confuse you.
Find out if we figure this out next. All right, last question for you guys. After this season, are you more or less invested in Din Djarin's story and future? And same for Grogu. Did this turn you away from it a little bit? Were you more hyped about their future in the previous seasons, or how do you feel coming out of the end of this one?
So for Din, my enthusiasm goes down, but for Grogu, it stays the same. I think that movie that we have with Rey, although I'm not excited to go back to that era and bring that character back, but the rumors of Grogu being in there, it's just a nice time jump because it's hard to do a character that doesn't age like in the course of a few months or even a couple of years. But this is like a big jump. This is at least, 15, 20 years after this moment. So he'll at least be a little bigger and he'll have such a cool experience. Seeing him in another movie at another time would be super interesting. And my hopes for Grogu are fine. My hopes for Din, I'm starting not to care, really. He was even a backseat in his own show this season, kind of. So I don't know what else you do with him.
Yeah. Real quick, when Grogu is announced officially that he will be in the Rey movie, Caleb has to buy me a poster of Grogu.
I'll give you
That's
the one
fair.
I have.
No.
That's fine.
It's got to be a movie poster. Anyways, love.
I am more excited for Din and Grogu because this season was underwhelming, but they wrapped it up and they showed, Din and Grogu on the farm hanging out. And the next season has to be about them. It's going back to them for sure with how they wrap this season up. So I am more excited for the future of the two of them because I know it's what it's going to be about next season.
They need that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they did a season like that, I would for sure care about Din. Just give us any character development.
Yeah, but they didn't do it this season, so I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So I'm split on that. Din, I was way more hyped about his future at the end of last season than I was coming out of this season. I'm interested still. I'm not out on Din Djarin, but my excitement has been tempered a bit. But I will say I'm way more hyped on Grogu than I was, even though we did leave off with him going off with Luke, which left me with a lot of excitement to see what we were going to be getting out of him. But it's crazy. It's totally flip-flop from halfway into the season, because halfway into the season, I was like, what are we doing with Grogu? Like, we're just sitting here and just using him to throw it on the screen. But I'm hyped. I'm actually really hyped for his future now. I think it's going to be dope. I'm very interested to see what they do with it. And I feel like Filoni's not going to let it go. And we're going to see a really cool development play out with him.
I'm so sorry. I breathed into the microphone without it muted.
I'm over here just boring JD. He's giving out these large sighs. Just this freaking guy.
But with Grogu also, didn't Kathleen Kennedy kind of force him into this season?
That's what it felt like, yeah.
So I wonder if the Luke thing, like, they have big intentions for him, but since he was shoved into the season, they didn't have plans for him. They just wrote him in wherever they could fit him. So maybe they really do have big plans, and he wasn't supposed to be in this season, and his shit's going to come later.
Filler season.
Yeah. I could see him popping up in Ahsoka a little bit, because I feel like Ezra could be the one to train him. Ahsoka won't train him. Luke won't now that he's chosen the Mandalorian way, but Ezra can kind of see different perspectives than Ahsoka and Luke. He's had a different life. He's had a totally different kind of deal going on. So I feel like maybe Ezra would be the one who would take on the training of Grogu if Grogu decides to continue his training in the Force.
Right.
And if he doesn't, then I'm still excited to watch a Mandalorian apprentice with Force abilities, because that's still a super cool concept. But
yeah, I think they set it up that Mando is his teacher now.
They kind of did with the whole apprentice deal and him being adopted. He's not going to give him up again, I guess. So Ezra would have to go off with them on their adventures, I guess.
So Mandalorians have a lot of strict rules, but at the same time, a lot of loopholes. With the Darksaber, there was a loophole, and now with Grogu, there's a loophole. he can't talk, but if I adopt him, then he can be my apprentice, which makes him a Mandalorian. So he's good, right? Yeah, that works.
Yeah, there's always a talk around.
Yeah.
But you also notice the armor never is helpful. She never says, well, you could do this. She always just says, no, can't do that, until Din asks 7 or 8 questions. And then she's like, yep, this is the way. It's like you were just waiting for him to get himself there. Like, she never just says, hey, if you do this, you could still do what you wanted to do. She's just like, no, figure it out, dude. And surprisingly, Din did, which is the biggest miracle of the season. All right. So you guys got any predictions? I mean, we kind of already covered our season 4 expectations, really. Hopefully we see Thrawn get more of the crossover with Ahsoka, see some remnants of the Imperials with that stuff. But yeah.
A big question is like, when would it take place? Is it like the last thing Star Wars releases before the movie? Because in that case, then it's like, okay, this is going to be huge. Or is it, a couple of years before the movie? Or is it after the movie?
Right. Yeah, who knows? There's a lot of things up in the air for Mando.
If it was the lead up for the Thrawn movie, I'd be super hyped because they would
be so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would just be perfect going right into the heir to the Empire, which I'm really hoping they end up naming that. But
I guarantee, I'm so confident they're going to do it. She said it in the trailer and everything. It's going to be a Thrawn villain, definitely heir to the Empire.
Straight up. Or we're about to end it up, but I don't know if we threw this in there or not, but I have to before we end the episode. Did we talk about the fact that Grogu used the Force like Kanan rebels and saved them from that massive explosion by putting up a Force barrier?
Yeah.
Because that was pretty freaking dope. I don't know if we really got into that or not, but super big rebels nod there.
Yeah. Again, defensive Force powers. That's his deal.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, protection. Grogu's there to help. All right. Well, thank you as always for joining us here. That'll do it for our coverage on season 3 of The Mandalorian. We've had fun at points with this season. Other points were a little bit frustrating, but you know what? It's all good. We're moving forward. I feel like Star Wars has a bright future ahead, and it will have an even brighter future with us as we get into our Star Wars special episode we'll be bringing to you on May the 4th. So tune in. Thank you as always to my co-hosts Jeremy Darr and Caleb Culver for joining me tonight. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever you use. Give us a 5-star, please. Thank you. Give us a review. Follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Why So Sidious Pod. And that'll do it here for us on another episode of Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast.